will come to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Shinick?
Here.
Mr. Lorenzo?
Yep.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Rowe?
Here.
Mr. Stillian?
Yep.
All present.
All right. The meetings from last month, I assume everybody received them. And your motion to approve them?
Make a motion to accept? I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes from the last meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And it's a vote. I will now open the public hearing. The first one is number 869, establish a stop sign on Orchard Street at the intersection of Bennett Street. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of that? Anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. What are the wishes of the board?
Good. After you.
After you, my friend.
I'll make a motion, we approve 869.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve a stop sign on Orchard Street at the intersection of Bennett Street. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And it's a vote. Number 870, establish resident parking on Fremont Place. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion to accept number 870, or to establish the resident parking.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to establish resident parking on Fremont Place. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And it's a vote. Number 871, establish angle parking on Blake Street next to the Blake Street lot from the intersection of Buffum Street to the intersection of Elmont Street, and eliminate the parking on the opposite side of Blake Street from the intersection of Buffum Street to directly across from the intersection of Elmont Street. Is anyone here to speak in favor of that? Anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. What are the
To
wishes
the
of the
chair,
board?
this is something we were looking to do. We were actually looking to change the Buffum Street lot, which would have been considerably cost to the city. What we're trying to do is establish more parking. The Ward 5 councilor got involved. She's trying to establish more parking in the downtown area. It will help the clinic and it will help the neighborhood. So I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve this angle parking on Blake Street, next to the Blake Street lot. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And it's a vote. Number 872, establish no parking, school bus parking only from 12 PM to 2 PM in front of 90 Commercial Street from the intersection of Neptune Boulevard to the intersection of Summer Street. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of?
I am.
Can you just state your name for the secretary?
Going right? Okay. So I'm the school security emergency management liaison. In front of 90 Commercial Street, which is the tech annex, which that end houses the early childhood care school, we have 20 some odd buses that come in. There's already a vote a few years ago to have the Neptune Street side bus parking only, because there's 6 or 7 long buses that come on that side. Then we have another 20 or so buses that come into that small cul-de-sac that barely fits 4 small-size buses. And right now, we have some employees that park on the street. I actually was standing on the double line, waving buses in, because initially they were just blocking traffic. They literally had to stop on Commercial Street and tie up traffic, go leading all the way down to the CVS into the Commons. became a little bit of a little dangerous too with other people that are trying to cross the street, they're trying to cross between buses. So for a few days, myself, the assistant business manager from the school and the campus monitor basically ran traffic until we kind of came up with the idea to plead with you to get this parking situation squared away with the buses.
What time is the dismissal down there?
The dismissal itself is at, it starts a little after 1 and it's kind of staggered. So the way we looked at it was, if we try to do it at 1, say it's 1:15, 1:30, if we try to do it at 1 o'clock,
2 o'clock's good enough.
yeah, the end of 2 o'clock would be done. But we knew that if we started it, if we gave more than an hour, that it would take us, it's probably gonna take us a half hour to an hour to find everyone to move their cars.
I've been stuck in that traffic, and the buses double park and
Right.
block Commercial Street.
They literally just stopped, because they had nowhere else to go.
Thanks.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor?
I am Catherine Latham, I'm the superintendent of schools, and I support this. We want to be good neighbors. We are blocking traffic down there. If we could just stop the traffic for a 2-hour period, or stop the parking for a 2-hour period, it would enable us to get the buses and the kids on, and then certainly out of the way. So I would ask for this as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? Anyone else here to speak in favor? Anyone else here to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion. I think Officer Wright is 100% right. I think we should do it. Safety of the children.
Motion made and seconded to establish no parking, school bus parking only from 12 PM to 2 PM in front of 90 Commercial Street from the intersection of Neptune Boulevard to the intersection of Summer Street. All those in favor?
All right.
Those opposed? And it's a vote.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, under new business, number 873, established no turn on red at the intersection of Eastern Ave and New Ocean Street, all 4 sides. Do you have anything on that, or was it just
Just what you sent to me.
my request? I actually got a call from Lisa Nerick, a woman on the corner of the intersection down there. Her house got hit in the wall near her driveway, got taken out, and she was looking for some relief down there. And part of the issue was the right turn on red and the crashes in the area, so it was suggested that we established a no turn on red on all 4 sides down there.
I am actually against that. I was down there. I think it's going to cause, similar to what we did with the last thing we did, I think it's going to cause a problem.
Like you did down in Dayton for you, then Janelle.
Yeah.
It's a problem down there.
And again, whether there's a sign or not, people are still going to do it. I just am against that. I don't know if we've gotten any correspondence from the ward councilor, but I just don't see that. The traffic is so bad in the city now. You're stopping every place. There's so much traffic flow. I just don't know if there's a need for this right
It's not
now.
a steady flow because if you get, there's parked cars there, so I'm coming up from Lynn Shore Drive onto Eastern Avenue, so they're not always going right. She's on the right-hand side.
Correct,
Right?
yeah.
They're not always going right because there's a couple of cars parked there. So it's not a continuous right all the time. And then coming from Swampscott onto Eastern Avenue, it backs all the way up into Swampscott. So and then about 4 or 5 blocks, it backs all the way up to Lynn Shore Drive. That's the way we have it now. So if you put all stop there, it's going to really back up.
I'll make a motion to deny it.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to deny number 873, the no turn on red at the intersection of Eastern Ave and New Ocean. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That's a vote.
And, Mr. Chairman, under new business, I spoke with Ned today about something that's been, Ms. Wright
We
probably,
have somebody here
oh, okay. We can-
once. I don't know if it's the same thing, but.
No, it's
she has something about.
Are you here
the
for
3 feet
something?
for the corners.
I just had a question and wanted to possibly make a proposal to be considered in the near future.
All right, can you just give us your name and
My name
Your
is
address?
Michelle Calnan. I'm a teacher at the Shoemaker School. I'm not sure what are the requirements for resident-only parking, but the Shoemaker School houses the sub-separate special needs program for children on the autism spectrum and the integrated program, and we are riddled with resident-only parking signs. I think someone counted over 25 in the immediate area, and it's a hardship for parking because we have close to 100 staff members coming and going throughout the day. We don't park in the schoolyard because it's designated for a student recess, so I just didn't know if there was a way to compromise with the neighbors and have it amended to maybe resident-only from 4 p.m. to 7 a.m. I would say the majority of the staff leave the school by 2:45, 3 o'clock at the latest. There are some that stay till maybe 4, but it's just a hardship for everyone to find somewhere to park. People are like walking a half a mile to work. And I think the designated area for us is supposed to be near the Linfield Street fire station that probably has maybe 10 spaces. And you're taking your life in your hands crossing Linfield Street in the morning. So I just didn't know how you went about possibly getting this on the docket to be considered. I'm sure neighbors need to be contacted. I'm sure plenty of them will oppose. But, I mean, just to be considered, because it's really a lot of cars and a lot of teachers and very little space to put us. And I was only thinking on 3 streets, Regina Road, Clearview Ave, and Conant Road, for maybe the amended time to be considered. And I got some feedback from staff members that would also be in favor of it, if that helps in any way.
well, my first thought would be speaking to the ward counselor and just see what the residents of the streets.
I have reached out to Wayne Losey, and he referred me to the Traffic Commission. He had told me that, I think a new sign went up. A woman called, 33 Clearview, called to have a sign replaced. I get that. I think he's under the impression that I'm talking about that one sign, parking in front of her house. I can see like the immediate neighbors maybe having a couple of signs if you have limited parking in your driveway, which most houses seem to have a long driveway to fit at least 2 cars. I don't know if he understands the severity of what it is, even though I've reached out to him multiple times to tell him how many teachers work at the school, how many signs there are in the immediate area. I asked him to consider supporting this action. I mean, this is just in the past few days. I missed the meeting last month, and it's just been trying to get my ducks in a row before coming here. He did refer me to come here, so I don't know if that would be something that he would be in favor of or against, but I can reach out to him again.
I would think someone would have to contact him, whether it's you or a letter from us asking for his opinion on the matter, and maybe he can meet with some of the residents and see if, that would be a compromise that they could live with, or,
What are the hours you're looking for?
We just want to be able to park there during school hours from
7 to
like
4.
7 to 4.
Have those signs been up a long time?
Oh, yeah. We
And
get
there
calls
are-
on them all the time.
There are quite a few new ones that have gone up, like, just pushing us further and further away, like, I don't know where we're
but
expected.
it's not so much the signs. I mean, once a street has resident parking on it, it's usually, one side or the other or both sides.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them are
You
both
know,
sides.
Yeah, so it's not so much that there were so many signs, it's the whole length of the street usually when it's done.
Right.
so.
It's
Yeah,
not,
Wayne had said that was already in effect before his time. I get that. I'm sure the school's been there a long time. I'm sure the neighbors, I mean, maybe immediately where the school is, if people are having trouble with coming out of their driveways, but maybe some of the other surrounding streets that have signs could be limited so that we could get in some sort of close vicinity to get to work.
How many are you looking for?
Oh, I don't know, I'd have to do my homework.
Well, they got
and
40
walk around.
employees, so they're looking for quite a few spots. Yeah.
I mean. I
It's not
think
much
somebody
different than
counted
other
28
schools in the city. They
signs
all have the problem.
around.
Every school has the same problem in the neighborhood. There's just no parking.
They don't put a sign in front of every house. Usually it's corner to corner, which
Mhm.
means the entire street is resident parking, but you won't see a sign in front of every house.
Oh,
You don't need it.
almost do-
Sporadic.
You almost
Yeah,
do on
there are a
Clearview,
lot.
because I counted about 12. I park like all the way down the street near the high tension wires where Stalker, Arvidsson, and Clearview all come together, which is fine, I can walk, but I have counted 12 signs.
Yeah, the
12
more
on
signs, the
street.
better sometimes, because then people definitely know it's resident parking.
Right.
But it can actually be monitored with less signs.
And I also hear feedback from parents that we had an event for a student, a teacher whose son has cancer. We had an event that we couldn't park in the schoolyard. It was called Trunk or Treat. We were having a dance and a benefit for him. So there was no parking in the schoolyard. And I actually heard parents that afternoon saying, well, where are we supposed to park? Are we going to get tickets if we park on the street and go into the school? So people are concerned, whether it's parents parking to pick up or come to an event, or teachers parking. I mean, it's usually $50 a whack, and nobody wants to be out $50 every time. So just looking for some sort of a compromise so that we can get to park for work. And I mean, I've left school at even 4 o'clock, and there are no cars on the street. There's no cars in their driveways. Like, I'm figuring people probably go to work some normal business hours, but I've left the building and our teachers in the vicinity are gone and neighbors aren't even home from work yet. So I'm just wondering how you go about possibly making some sort of compromise with the neighborhood.
Right. I think the reason the signs, the new signs went up on Clearview is because the teachers were blocking the woman's driveway. And one of the signs, I don't know if a plow took it down or what, but it was missing. So when we researched the ordinance included resident parking all the way to the school property, which I don't think that was her intent, was to block, 3 spots in front of her house. It's just the one right at her driveway, but that, I think, would,
And I get that
Take
that's
a little research with,
probably a pain
Wayne.
for neighbors.
We get calls constantly on the
I'm sure,
school.
like,
the reason there's so many signs is because it's such an
I feel like
issue.
probably not so much teachers, because we're there for the whole entire day, but I have seen parents pull right in front of someone's driveway to let their kid out, walk them halfway to the school and then say, go ahead. So, I mean,
Right.
I get
My
that.
bad. Yep.
I feel like it's probably parents
More
more
likely,
than it is
more likely a
teachers,
parent, yes.
Which is a shame for us because
You guys pay the
it
price.
ruins it for everyone.
Right.
I mean, I've witnessed it myself. I get that part of it, and if I lived there, I would probably be aggravated too. So I get that, but I'm just hoping that there's some way we can work with the neighbors to get a compromise.
Well, we can
Thanks.
send a letter to Councilor Lozey asking for his input on this too.
Okay.
Do you need that as a motion? I'll make a motion.
Anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to send a letter to Councilor Lozey, looking for his input on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that's what we'll do. And you can call Councilor Lozey yourself and, talk to him.
Okay.
So, Ms. Callen, just so you know the process, so we would set it down for a public hearing,
Okay.
at which point it would be advertised in the newspaper, and then we would have a public hearing, and sides, pro and con, would come in and state their case, just like earlier but we didn't hear it. It wasn't very controversial, the issues we've had so far.
I was at a city council meeting last week, so it pretty much went the same.
You know the drill, okay.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware of our procedure.
Yeah, and I mean, I was just coming for kind of informative, but I did, poll the staff, and there's 75 staff signatures of people that would be interested in helping this to happen, so you might have a full house on that night.
Michelle,
Standing room only.
will you leave that with us? And
Yep.
I'll send a copy to the counselor. And what's your address?
My address is 8 Lauren Lane in Lynn. I'm also a resident, so I feel like I can park anywhere in that neighborhood, but I'm too chicken.
You actually can't unless you live on that street.
I know, I'm kidding, but I feel like
And I don't know
I'm
who's
a
get-
resident of this city, so I should be able to park on a public street.
If they're getting $50 tickets, they're getting it for something else. It's either the sticker isn't valid or something. There's no $50 ticket for resident parking.
Well, we have a big sign, and as soon as you walk through the door of the school, it says, "Did you park in resident parking? $50 ticket." So
Well, it's
people
not a
have got-
$50 ticket.
People have gotten $50 tickets. in
They've
that
gotten it
neighborhood.
probably for something else. The ticket for resident parking is $20 and $30. It's never been a $50 ticket, so they're probably getting
It's a
it.
scare tactic, but that's
Don't
what
want
it-
that
that's what
either.
it says.
But people have come in many times, they say, I got a ticket for $50 for parking at a meter, and it's their inspection sticker's expired, it's their plates, it's some other issue. So, there is no ordinance for any ticket for $50 for resident parking.
well-
Again, they could have been blocking a hydrant, they could have been doing something else.
That's true. It just says it right when we walk in our school, so
Oh.
that it deters people from.
It's just like if it's on the
parking in
internet, that doesn't mean
resident
it's true.
parking. Anything else from me?
That's all I need.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
under new business, I was talking with Officer Shinnick today. I'm looking to rescind or change the ordinance in regards to parking in front of a house. I have a person that's pushing that they want to have the 3 feet enforced, but unfortunately, if you enforce the 3 feet from a driveway, you'd be eliminating probably 50% of the parking on most streets. Because right in front of most houses, you have enough to park 2 cars. There is an old ordinance, I think Ms. Wright might be familiar with what I'm talking about, where you have to be 3 feet from the driveway.
It's not that old, that was only done a couple of years ago.
No,
Because
I'm-
of all the problems down in the beach area.
Yeah, I'm looking to rescind that. I'd like to put that down for a public hearing, because if we enforce it, we got to enforce it through the city, and it's going to cause havoc in a lot of areas.
Did you have it on the tickets?
No.
Okay, it was never put, from what I recall from the meeting, it was never put on the tickets. They just wanted to legalize it so that when the police went out and these people wouldn't move their cars, whatever, they could show that to them and tell them that they would be tagged because they could be tagged.
Well, I have some people on social media that have gotten together in quite a few streets. They're looking to have like 15, 20 streets enforced nightly, which is going to eliminate the parking 50%. And legally, there is an ordinance, but I just don't have the manpower right now to be tagging all that. So I'm looking to change that ordinance. I'd like to set it down. Don't know if I'll get a second to it, but I'd like to make a motion to. The problem is, in most streets, you can park 2 cars in front of your house. If you take 6 feet away, it's going to go one thing. So you take Park Street, all the streets off the Commons, it's going to be tough to park. You go down by the beach, I understand that the 3 feet may be getting in and out of a driveway, but a lot of those streets are wide. You take the 3 feet, that's 6 feet from every house. That's just going to make it very, this is a city that's not designed for parking as many cars as we have.
Cut it to 1.5.
Again, if we could advertise it and then we can negotiate something or
Well,
a
do
foot.
you want to make a motion to reduce the spacing, or you want to just make a motion to eliminate?
A
the 3
motion
feet,
to revisit it to change the distance or eliminate it. How about if we do that? That way we can all think about it by the next meeting and decide.
Well, if you wanted to come into the next meeting advertised, you need to give me the specifics.
When is it going to be the next meeting? Is it going to be in December or January?
19th.
December, I would say,
Mr.
right?
Chairman.
It's right here on the thing, right?
Well, that's if we're all going to be here and we're going
I
to.
have vacation, I'm not sure what I'm doing yet.
Lucky you. I'm back from vacation then. But again, my wording could be very easy, that to either change the distance or eliminate, and I think you could advertise it that way, and no matter what we did, we'd be in the guidelines. What do you think, Mary?
Well, I think you need to put the distance down.
To either eliminate any distance or reduce the distance. I'm saying do it both ways. So if we decide, hey, we want a curb cut to curb cut, or if we want to go 6 inches a foot, you can look at it.
Shot instead of doing 2 separate meetings.
Rescind the 3 feet.
Cut it in half.
Rescind the 3 feet and establish 1.5 feet.
So,
There you go.
like, I make-
One and a
make
half,
motion
some,
to set that
one and a
down.
half, sometimes you're still taking 3 feet from some house, you may not have parking in front of that house anymore.
So what are you proposing instead?
What happens if all of a sudden you have people come here and they're all saying, make it 0, make it 6 inches, make it 12
You
inches?
can-
If you set a time, a distance, are we limiting ourselves?
No, you aren't.
So if we advertise a foot and a half, we can make it 6 inches
You could
can
amend
amend
it
it.
then.
and do another meeting, or we can just
No, I
No,
think
you can amend it right then and there.
when we,
If it's
when we're
whatever it's
taking the vote
advertised
on it,
for,
you know,
you can amend that and vote on it.
All right. I just don't know if a foot and a half is going to be, if you measure in front of some of these houses, are you actually going to eliminate it enough that,
A foot and a half, Bob, is
that's 3 feet though?
18 inches.
this much.
That's 3 feet though, because you're doing both sides
both
of the...
sides.
Before you were doing 6 feet, we just cut it in half.
Yeah.
Well, most people can't get out of their driveway when people are parked all
Right
the
up
way.
to the,
Up to it
you know.
anyway.
But again, if they start asking us on every street and we're going down them, I'm just letting you know what this could turn into at a foot and a half on a city that's limited parking now.
Well, sometimes they need to use their own discretion. If there's room.
Where were the
They
initial
wouldn't
complaints generated?
Tudor Street, up in that area.
Oh, down by the beach?
I'm getting them now, Park Street, I'm getting them Whiting, I'm getting them Surfside, I'm getting them, they're all saying that it's 3 feet, enforce the 3 feet. Somebody got a copy of the ordinance and they've been
My
circulating
neighbor
it.
got mad, and someone parked too close.
But when that was established, I believe Chairman Coppinger at the time brought that in, because there were a lot of problems down there, and it would be left up to the discretion of whoever went out to tag. If a person could get out, they wouldn't tag.
But the problem is, if the ordinance is on the books, don't you have to tag? If somebody calls out and they are, then we can get criticized for not enforcing the ordinance.
Who does the tagging? Is it the
It's like
police officer
everything
or
that
parking?
they go out.
Either one can tag.
A lot of them, they use their discretion on a lot
well,
of things.
I mean, it's still discretion there, because a lot of times, I mean, guys could find whose car it is and ask them to move it.
Well, that's what the police do most time, which is very good. Even blocking the driveway, they try to accommodate the
I know in this
neighbors.
situation, it was a fairly narrow driveway, and the person had a very large SUV, and if they were parked end to end on her driveway, she couldn't make the turn out because the street
Yeah, but a
was
foot
so-
you
the
could
street
probably,
was
if
so
you got
narrow.
2 feet, one on each side of you, you got 2 feet. 3 feet out of in front of a house, a foot and a half, and a foot and a half is a lot of...
We can figure that out at the time, we do some research.
How about if we just put reduce the amount and don't set an amount in? I just feel bad if somebody comes in and says, I thought it was gonna be a
Put
foot and a...
something there, 'cause
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna leave it
gotta
up
put
to the,
something.
to be judging to whoever's doing the parking, and anybody.
Well, no, I'm saying for the advertisement, leave it that we're gonna reduce it, and then we can pick a distance.
Right, that's correct.
Go park in front of somebody's house, and you figure if 3 feet is gonna affect it, 2 feet's gonna...
Well, I got another one, we were all done with this.
Yeah, I get 2, actually, so...
Well, if we can change it that night
You
at
can
the
amend it.
meeting, and we can amend it.
As long as we can, that's fine.
And why don't you just pick a number, we'll advertise it as that, and we'll go with that.
Want to do a foot, or you want to do a foot and a half?
I'm gonna split it down the middle. Putting 1 1/4.
I'll make a motion to set down a foot and a half.
Okay.
Foot and a half.
Okay.
You seconding his motion, is that your motion?
No, he's making a motion.
You're making the motion.
So we need
Anyone
a
want to
second.
second
I'll
that?
second that.
All right, motion made and seconded to reduce the 3 feet down to a foot and a half on each side. We'll set it down for a public hearing for next month. All those in favor? Those opposed? All right.
Now, if you're only adding, there's 6 feet, say you got a given house, right? You're only subtracting 6 feet now with the current ordinance.
Correct, there's 3
6
feet on each
is-
side.
6 feet is less than a car, so you're not going to gain another spot no matter what you do.
No, the problem is, if you have 35 feet in front of a house because you're taking driveways, a lot of these things aren't 50-foot frontages. They're all 25, 30-feet frontages. So when you take 6 feet out of a thing where they're just barely squeezing 2 cars in, there's some where you pull them in, they probably got a foot on each side of them. So now with this 3 foot, that's 1 car in front of 20 houses on Park Street. So 20 cars now just got displaced that are going to park where? Again, the city we're not into revenue, but there'd be a ton of revenue, because if we get enforced and have to go down some of these streets, you're going to displace tons of people. Mall Street, we have parking on one side only. I'm getting the thing down there also. And I've gone down nights, they're not right on top of the driveways. They're 6 inches back, they're 3 inches back, they're not right on top. But they want us to push it 3 feet back. On Mall Street, you're going to lose a lot of parking on one side. And I'm going out now, checking these streets that they're asking me, and 6 feet, 3 feet is going to displace a lot of cars. And I think I'm going to be enforced to enforce it. So when I go out and do this, we're going to be, unfortunately, tagging probably 75 cars a night in these streets that we're being asked to go down to, even at the foot and a half. Because it's just some of these houses, you've got such a narrow thing, taking any distance away, taking 6 inches away on each side, some of these people aren't gonna be able to park in front of the house. Those houses, fine, they lose 1 car. But if you go down 15 houses on one side and you lose 15 cars, it's gonna be,
Gonna hurt.
yep. So you
All
might
right,
have,
well, it's down for hearing,
Yep.
and we can,
no, I was answering his question, the 3 feet to 6 feet. And then the next thing I have is putting the meters in the downtown. I'd like to advertise that next month to put the meters in the replace the meters in the downtown area. Mary, I can send you a letter on that if you'd like.
Yes, I would, please, because I really, I'm not supposed to advertise anything without the paperwork. Should have brought it with you tonight.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Now, when you're talking downtown area,
All streets downtown, we can decide at the next meeting how we want to do that. I don't think it's going to be all streets, but it's going to be a street by street.
That's not like a Union Chestnut and all the way down that way, is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think
That's
we'd
too
have to
far?
go down that.
That's too far?
Yeah. Again, if the board would like to, they can just assign it that the parking department can decide the streets as long as they get the permission. What we did at one point was the parking department sets the rate on the meters versus going back every time. Do we want to do this street? Do we want to do this street?
can you give me a list of the streets that you want?
I'm not really sure the downtown area, so I'm not sure if it's all streets or some streets. A lot of it would be the powers to be, what they want to do for streets and the situation of money and stuff as far as if we have enough money to do some of the meters.
Well, maybe like from Chestnut Street to the square, or, you know, some type of a vicinity.
If you say replace the downtown meters, it would be the ones that were already down there.
But who's going to remember that?
I might be able to get a list of the old
So it's
spots
just replacing the old ones that are down there? with-
No.
that were removed.
That they removed years ago.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Which most communities are doing it now. They're going back to the meter situation because it is improving the traffic flow and everything else, and... But that was made
So
and
you can,
seconded.
you can come up with a list, is that?
I can, but again, I'm not sure if we want to put them all down now,
Like a
or...
perimeter and this perimeter, then
I think we'd need to know one way or another, with either the perimeter or what you're talking about, or the individual streets.
Downtown Business District as on the plan with the city of Lynn, which is the same plan where they eliminated parking downtown.
Okay, if there's a map of that?
I will get something to Ms. Wright.
we're getting closer.
There we go.
All right. If there's a map of that, and you can get to Mary, and I can write something up.
Advertise, 'cause
Yep.
you got to put something in the advertisement.
All right. So motion made
And seconded by,
and seconded.
Yep.
To replace the meters downtown. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And it's a vote.
Is there any like ordinance for, you know, when someone parks in their driveway, they park on the sidewalk, so you can't walk around, you have to walk around the car.
Well, there
you
is
can't
an
park on the
ordinance.
sidewalk,
I
no.
mean, you park in the driveway, you know.
If it overhangs the sidewalk, that's state law. You can't be on the sidewalk.
That's just curious.
So if you have a problem like that, let us know.
And the light at Tracy and Goodrich is out, it's been out for 2 weeks.
ISD?
Is there an issue there with that light or something? Hasn't been working since we had the windstorm.
That would just be something ISD could.
ISD will
Inspectional
fix it, yeah,
services,
yeah.
all inspectional services.
Where was it?
Tracy and Goodrich, that little blinking light there, it's a stoplight.
Hmm?
They changed it to a stoplight, it used to be a blinking light, and they changed it.
All right,
It's become less critical, I think, since Tracy Ave became one way.
Yeah.
Yes, it took a while for people to realize Tracy was a one-way. That's good. So they can take it, I don't know what they're doing, if they take it out, that's fine, I don't know what they were doing there. Because they put up stop signs, and then the stop signs come down. The light went out, they put up stop sign.
Oh, temporary stop signs, you
Yeah, and
mean?
then now everything's gone, so I don't know what's going on. Because I have a house in Tracy, so I don't know what's going on over there.
I can call ISD tomorrow and ask them,
Yeah,
you know,
just curious, that's all.
about the light.
Okay, motion to adjourn? Anything for all
Is there
business?
anything else?
Is this the date for the, we doing December or January?
I'm good for December, but if other people aren't, I'm
I can,
fine.
I'm not doing anything crazy, I just didn't know what I was doing yet. It's the, what?
I'm in work, so it don't matter to me. Oh, you're probably in work too, right? Yeah, so it don't matter to us.
Most likely, I'll be around. I don't have an issue with it.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
December's fine.
We'll make it December 19th, for the next meeting. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed?